Check 1, 2.
I'm just going to wait on you to say when Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to the annual Wreaths Across America Day ceremony. And thank you for joining us here today as we remember the fallen, honor those who serve and their families, and teach the next generation the value of freedom. My name is Paul Cancelleri, and I'm the chair of the Wakefield Veterans Advisory Board, and the theme for today's ceremony is Keep Moving Forward. I just want to welcome, we have a few guests here with us this afternoon. Representative Kate Lipper-Garabedian, thank you for coming. Unfortunately, Representative Donna Wong was not able to make it, and Senator Jason Lewis sends his regrets. Members of our town council, Maureen Butt, Councilor Jonathan Chines, Councilor Douglas Butler, Councilor John Carney, Councilor Stacy Constas, Councilor John Chrisley, and Councilor Brian Fox. I'm not sure if they're all here today, but they do a great job at supporting the veterans here in town. I also want to mention we have today our town administrator, Denise Casey. She's here today also with her mother. Thank you very much for coming. We have Deacon Ed Giordano, our chaplain for today's ceremony, from the Lazarus Center for Healing Shrine here in Wakefield. We also have some students from Wakefield Memorial High School. Lucy Spry will be singing the national anthem. Caitlin Slisky and Bailey Quimby will be performing taps. We have Dave Mangan, our Veteran Service Officer. Thank you, David, for everything that you do. We have our Gold Star wives represented today, Pam Hart and Miriam Dennehy. Dennis Fazio is here representing the Department of Public Works. He's done a terrific job with the Department of Public Works and his team this morning. It's a little cold this morning, so I got to get it going. Also, we have some members of the American Legion and members of the Veterans Foreign Wars, the VFW, here today. We have some scouts from Troop 701 and, of course, the Wakefield Girl Scouts, too. A special thanks to the members of the Veterans Advisory Board, Dan Benjamin, Joseph Jacoby, Miriam Dennehy, Joseph Delilio, Dale Finley, and Peter Constantine. Also, I just want to say a special thanks to our public safety, Wakefield Police, Wakefield Firefighters, and also our first responders, our EMTs. A special thanks also to the folks behind us, the folks from Shaw's. They come every year to support this event. All are welcome to grab a hot beverage, and please just give them some thanks for supporting the ceremony as they do every year. As we begin our program this afternoon, let's take a moment to face the American flag. And I'm going to ask David Mangan to come forward. Please remove your caps and join David Mangan, our Veteran Service Officer, as he leads us in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be followed by the national anthem.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There you go.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, David, and thank you, Lucy. Deacon Ed Giordano will lead us in prayer.
Almighty God, as we stand in awe of your goodness and mercy today, our hearts are filled with gratitude for the men and women who have served and sacrificed in our armed forces in love of God, country, family, and community. We always pray for those who have made the ultimate sacrifice, and we also pray for those who are currently serving to bring peace throughout the whole world. Always help us to remember those we have lost. Always help us to honor those who serve. Always help us to teach our children about how these men and women helped in securing our freedom in that for all. Let us move forward in striving for this freedom in peace for our children and for all children throughout the whole world. Amen.
Deacon Ed, thank you. Thank you for the work you do at the Lazarus Center for Healing Shrine. Today, we join thousands of Americans as we honor more than 2 million veterans and their families. This year, generosity enables us to honor 465 deceased veterans in 2 veteran sections here at Forest Glades Cemetery. This cemetery is one of 4,909 cemeteries around the world that are participating in this ceremony. This afternoon, we honor those veterans who devoted their lives defending our freedoms, delivering liberty and justice for all. As you read the headstones in the veteran sections today, take a moment to appreciate the sacrifice that these soldiers, Marines, sailors, and airmen made so that we may be free. Among veterans that are buried here are veterans who served in the Spanish-American War, World War I, following the attack on Pearl Harbor, World War II, which ended 80 years ago this year, the Korean War, which ended 70 years ago, the Vietnam War, which ended 50 years ago, and most recently, Desert Storm 1 and 2, and the global war on terror. And of course, the conflicts in the Middle East. The 8 wreaths displayed here symbolize a united front of gratitude for service to the United States of America. The Defense POW and MIA Accounting Agency continues to locate the remains of some 7,500 Americans that are still unaccounted for from the Korean War. In 1955, a Wakefield police officer by the name of John F. Mahoney was cited for his unselfish efforts by the West Side Social Club on behalf of the many New England families that he aided in the long search for news and information about missing service members. He connected with the 48 states searching for missing troops from the Korean War. And as part of his efforts, the American Legion in California published the following poem in their XPW Bulletin. I'm assuming that stands for XPOW Bulletin, circa 1955. That poem is titled, "There's a Lonely Grave in Korea Tonight." There's a lonely grave in Korea tonight, beneath the starlit sky, where sleeps a soldier from the fight, a nameless brave GI. And the cold wind mourns for the souls that's gone, with never a word nor backward glance, at the lonely grave where the moonbeams dance. There's a lonely grave in Korea tonight, beside a rocky dell. There isn't a cross to mark the site where our gallant GI fell. And the snow sweeps down from the mountain pass to deny the grave any blades of grass, to hold its secret safe, alone, where the black clouds start and the cold winds moan. There's a lonely grave in Korea tonight, outside a prison camp. And a hand-carved cross in the cold moonlight has a POW stamp. The soldiers left in the huge compound stare vacantly out to the earthen mound and recall the day that they placed him here, the gaunt-faced lad with the curly hair. There's a lonely grave in Korea tonight, and the Lord alone knows where. By a field of rice or a mountain height, the Lord will find it there. And daily it's strewn with a mother's prayers As oceans apart, she tenderly cares, while waiting and waiting for some little word, waiting, it seems, for the hand of the Lord. There are lonely hearts in the land tonight for those who won't return, hearts where the fires of love are still bright, parts where a hole still burns. And the night wind whips from thickening skies to dry the tears from our brim-filled eyes. O wind, take our tears and let them appear as dew on the lonely grave in Korea. This poem was reprinted in the Wakefield Daily Item from March 28 to April 1st. It was part of a series titled Missing in Action. Wakefield police officer John Mahoney's efforts helped to give hope to the families of soldiers that are missing in action. Today, Representative Kate Lippert-Garabedian will post the POW MIA flag to honor nearly 80,000 United States service members from all branches of service whose last known status was either prisoners of war or missing in action. These individuals have yet to return home. To all the prisoners of war and to those missing in action, this flag reads, "You are not forgotten." We remember Sergeant Gerald F. Scott, who remains missing in action from the Korean War as we struggle to keep moving forward. The next presenter, Joseph Jacoby, will post the United States Army flag honoring those who served or are currently serving in the United States Army. The Army flag was dedicated and unfurled to the public on June 14th, 1956 at Independence Hall in Philadelphia. The United States Army celebrated its 250th birthday in June of 2025, defending the Constitution of the United States of America since the Continental Congress in 1775. Colonel Joseph Sullivan, buried here at Forest Glades Cemetery, served in the United States Army, and Joe kept moving forward, serving as the assistant principal at Wakefield Memorial High School, the principal at Gloucester High School, and then the principal at St. Joseph's School here in Wakefield. Another veteran buried is Clara L. Wood. She served as a U.S. Army nurse in the Army Nurse Corps during World War I. She kept moving forward for 84 years. Next, Jay Panett is posting the United States Marine flag, honoring those who are served or currently serving in the United States Marine Corps. The Continental Congress passed a resolution 250 years ago on November 10th, 1775, calling for 2 battalions of Marines. Early Marines served on land and sea. When the Revolutionary War ended in 1783, all the Navy ships were sold, funding the defense of our new nation, and the Continental Marines and Navy separated. The Marine Corps has been in the forefront of every American war since its creation, serving around the world. The motto, "First to Fight," is commonly associated with the Marines. One Marine veteran buried here is Robert Leon Weaver, who served during the Vietnam War. Private First Class Weaver kept moving forward for 74 years. Another Marine that is buried here is Staff Sergeant Warren H. Davidson, who served in both World War II and during the Korean War. He kept moving forward for 88 years. The next presenter is Gold Star wife Pam Hart. She will post the United States Navy flag honoring those who served and those that are currently serving in the United States Navy. The official flag of the Navy was created by an executive order of President Eisenhower on April 24, 1959. The flag is similar to the other flags of the United States Armed Forces in that it showcases the official seal of the Department of the Navy on a dark blue field edged by gold fringe. The United States Navy recently celebrated 250 years of defending the Constitution of the United States. Pam's late husband, Petty Officer Donald Hart, served in the United States Navy as a Seabee in Vietnam and in Iceland. Also buried here in this cemetery is John A. Welch, Jr., who served as a musician, 3rd class, with the United States Navy. He kept moving forward for 86 years. The next presenter is David Mangan. David will post the United States Air Force flag in honor of those who served or are currently serving in the United States Air Force. The 13 stars around the bald eagle represent the original colonies. The 3 stars above the eagle symbolize the 3 departments of defense at the time: the Air Force, the Army, and the Navy. The bald eagle is the national bird, which represents power, nobility, and strength. The cloud behind the eagle is a representation of the creation of a new firmament. The thunderbolts on the crest are symbolic of the air power of the United States military. They are also a powerful reminder of the explosive forces of nature that the Air Force must contend with daily. Buried here is Sergeant John Curran, who served in the United States Air Force during Vietnam from 1967 to 1968 during the Tet Offensive. Jack kept moving forward in the Wakefield community for 71 years. Also buried here is Myron Troth, who served in the United States Air Force in Vietnam. Myron kept moving forward in the Wakefield community for 78 years. Next, David Mangan will post the United States Space Force flag in honor of those who are currently serving in the United States Space Force. The white Polaris symbolizes the guiding light of security and alludes to a constant presence and vigilance in space now and in the future. 2 clusters of small stars represent the space assets developed, maintained, and operated by the Space Force. Our town administrator, Denise Casey, will post the United States Coast Guard flag in honor of those who served or are currently serving in the United States Coast Guard. The Coast Guard is a unique branch of the American military in that it has 2 official flags, the white standard and the ensign. The Coast Guard's ensign flag is used only as a symbol of law enforcement authority to uphold the laws of the United States. It is never used in parades or during ceremonies. The ensign looks almost exactly like the flag of the Revenue Cutter Service that was authorized in 1799. The white Coast Guard standard is used during parades and ceremonies and is adorned by 34 battle streamers. Buried here is Francis M. Collins, a World War II U.S. Coast Guard veteran. Following his service, Francis worked for the Wakefield Water Department and kept moving forward for 66 years. The last flag will be presented by Gold Star wife Miriam Dennehy. She will post the United States Merchant Marine flag in honor of those who served or are currently serving in the United States Merchant Marines. The flag was designed by the United States Army Institute of Heraldry and was unveiled by the Maritime Administrator, Albert J. Herberger. The flag serves to honor the Merchant Marines and civilians who have risked their lives while serving with the United States military throughout the history of our country. Miriam's late husband, Richard Dennehy, served in the United States Navy in Vietnam during the Tet Offensive. Richard passed in 1996, and Miriam encourages others to keep moving forward. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a round of applause for today's presenters. Wreaths Across America does not offer individual wreaths for veterans buried in family plots at this particular cemetery. The 465 wreaths are donated specifically for the graves of the veterans that are buried in 2 veteran sections. And these 2 veteran sections are monuments to all the veterans in our community. Just allow me, as we begin to wrap this up, there's a few tips for placing the wreaths. Place the wreath centered at the headstone with the bow at the top at the 12 o'clock position. Take a moment to just say the veteran's name aloud and read the information on the stone or the marker. You'll see the person's date of birth, their date of death, their branch of military service, their rank obtained, and note the era or the conflict that the person served. If there's a wreath on the headstone, simply just proceed to the next headstone. Veterans, cadets, scouts, you're encouraged to render a slow salute. I'd ask that everybody just join me right now in a moment of silence as we take a moment to honor the fallen, the missing, and those that are held captive. The silence will be followed by a rifle salute and the playing of taps. Thank you to the rifle team, and thank you, Catherine and Bailey. Thank you, everyone, for taking time today to participate in this ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the 2025 Wreath Day ceremony, and on behalf of the Veterans Advisory Board and our community, I thank you for preparing or for participating in this annual event. Please move forward towards the wreath distributions to my back here, to those points, and pick up the wreaths to be placed upon the veterans' graves in the veterans section. And following the ceremony today, take time to enjoy the Army-Navy game, America's game. Go Army, beat Navy. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.